Did y'all watch Soul?
Yes, I love that movie,
Yeah, I just
bro.
saw it last night.
It's
I
great.
didn't see it.
Tell me your feelings.
My feelings is I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, man.
I
I mean, I
Listen
know
up.
that you did it,
but-
You love
but
it.
shit. I almost feel bad for saying I enjoyed it. I'm looking at his face like, damn, what should I say? How should I go?
Which
How should I
aspect
go?
of it?
How should I go about this? What would
He
be
was-
most pleasing for you, Josh? do I have free will to speak? Can I speak freely, or
course.
can I?
Of course.
His piano
why I
skills is
asked.
trash.
I genuinely want to know because I have mixed feelings. But yeah. Marcus, you were saying, I'm sorry.
No, I was making a joke. I should say his piano skills is trash. It was. I actually gotta see it again because I was kind of doing something else. I like kind of going back and forth, but it was. I didn't know where it was going at first because I thought they were about to try to explain afterlife in their own way, but it turned out that wasn't really what it was about. So it was all right. I mean, it's a Disney movie.
Disney
Disney,
Pixar
yeah.
situation.
I like in movies when like
That makes
somebody switches, when somebody sees things differently. When somebody like when they live their life a certain way, they have an experience and then they switch their perspective and allows them to see things a little differently.
Mhm.
I like that. Like that typically moves me. Whatever, whether it's like Disney or live action or whatever.
Mhm.
The one thing that kind of annoyed me was the fact that he was a middle-aged man, and it took him that long for him to explain to his mom his passion and how that works. And
I did like
was
that scene, man.
I was just like, I liked the scene, but I was just like, you never, like, all of the times that you talk to your mom, she never got it in that way. And I couldn't figure out if he had got his body back yet, because at the moment she was kind of speaking for him, but in that particular scene, it seemed like it was coming from his direct perspective. So that kind of
Right.
confused me a little bit.
Which it was because, he was telling 22 what to say.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
if you see that scene again, like the 22 has stopped pretty much in the voice change also. Just
True.
I'm sure for the sake of the scene, for it to make sense, but it didn't seem like she was in control anymore. Like
Nah.
it was,
Yeah.
when you speaking from your perspective, it's passion and is
That's what it
direct.
felt like. Yeah.
Right, and it was that kind of confused me a little bit. But
And
that's technical. So I mean,
yeah, I feel you. I think what it might have also been was they took it out of our perspective and put it from the moms. So she's still hearing him.
yeah.
True.
That's true. Yeah, but the part about that was like, Mom, you really, in all of these years, he's been having this, like, he's middle aged. By now, you should get the fact that this is what I'm gonna do. Like, but
There's a lot of moms that's not like that.
But I know, but it took 22 to, you know what I'm saying, kind of push him to that, or for her to finally, realize that, and after, it seemed like it happened all in an instant. Like, oh, okay, now, okay, here's the suit. I support you now.
Yeah, I feel
in real life, it's kind of a, okay, I kind of support you. Okay, now I get it. Okay, not like, okay, I'm giving you this gift now. Like, go out there, get him.
It seemed like also, man. It seemed like also he didn't. It seemed to me like he never really told it to her like that. So he was like afraid to tell her exactly how he felt for all those years.
Because there's this thing that usually kind of happens, especially with little black boys. When you're primarily raised by your mother, even though you may have relationships with your dad and all of that kind of stuff, your mother is such a pivotal staple, a part of your development. And I'm not saying this is just exclusive to little black boys, but I just know from what I've seen in my own experience, when you feel your mom is probably the main person that you feel like you can't speak to in certain ways, especially because for the longest time, my mother had never heard my real voice.
Word.
Because
like your
what do you mean?
Your views or like your actual?
No, like actually my real voice. Because the thing of in real, and I've done it for so long, it's natural to me now, and I'm trying to be better about it since quarantine. Is that in real life, like I have a lot of bass, but anytime I would talk to her, I would never speak in my bass. Because if I did speak in my bass to her about anything, she would go, "Who you talking to like that?"
Oh, so it was like a learned thing. I got you.
Because for her,
Basically,
because for her it was a tonal thing. Tonally, bass meant disrespect.
Got you.
And so
hey, I never even thought of it.
That's a thing. Yeah, man.
That thing transferred into my adult life where I would speak to women in general and would not speak in my real voice.
Except for like during sex. I feel you.
Give me
I
that.
see what you mean.
but you know what I mean? I can get and Marco, I'm sorry, I heard you say something, but I just wanted to
No, I was just saying I see what you mean because like not in that specific aspect, but like when you I think is like becoming a man almost like in that scene it was like that. It's like yes, people have these expectations of you and you want to honor them because they're close to your heart, but at the same time you are this vehicle in life, so it's like you're gonna do what you do and I respect you and that's never gonna be breached or whatever, but
right.
I still have to become and be myself and no matter who's around me. So I think that was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
In that,
so
scene.
I can get that.
Yeah.
That's one aspect that I think was done well, was kind of talking about this relationship between the son who has these artistic pursuits that he thinks are what he actually cares about, and the mom who married and had a child with an artist, but didn't necessarily get the perspective that dimension of artistry was, and so wanted their child to go the more pragmatic route.
Right, people project their however you want to
their trauma
their trauma onto people, not knowing that they have to live their own outcomes.
Right.
I can't go off of what the dad did. I gotta go off of what my skills and whatever.
And so yeah, she was like, you ain't make it, so you should stop. You should go the pragmatic route, because at this point you're not even where your dad was. You're not getting a big break at 40 something. In which for jazz musicians, yeah, you could.
Yeah.
But
yeah, true.
But Adam, were you about to say something?
I was gonna say I didn't see the movie, but it sounds like, because I'm just trying to get it just so it sounds like there's this guy, I'm assuming was a jazz musician, and he was pursuing this, but his mom was like, dude, why don't you go work at the mill or something? And he was like, no.
She wants him to keep the school
Teacher
time,
job,
which they just offer him full time and benefits.
Yeah, for the first time. Yeah.
So
right.
she want him to go the steady route like that, but he wants to pursue
And as life would have it, assumed the same day or like around the same time when he got that full-time position offer, he also ran into somebody who hooked him up with a gig, who knew about a gig or something that he also wanted. So he has these two options, and he has to like pull from like disappointing his mom or also disappointing himself by not going the road that he knows he actually wants to go.
But you know what? I'm just thinking about this now. Like, you obviously can do those two things at the same time.
You really
can. You can't go travel. That's what you can't do.
But if you're just playing in the same club all the time, then...
yeah, that's what I was like.
So we just debunked that whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
Look,
in the morning, you still have time to make that.
Only thing that may be the issue is if you're in the middle of New York and you're playing this club, you're most likely playing from like 11 to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And if you got to teach at 7:45 in the morning, unless you train your body to be able to handle that, which I doubt he did or can at this point, then that could be an issue.
Yeah. Also, like I said, I didn't see it, but just based off of what I'm hearing, like, I think more than anything, it was probably more so just like the concept. Like, okay, are you going to do the practical thing or are you going to do the art thing?
Yeah,
it was.
You know?
Yeah.
But
so you pretty much know the movie.
Yeah, but I was gonna say it sounds like that. Honestly, that sounds like a movie that will resonate to a lot of Black people and people of color because you hear that a lot. And I'm not saying I know a lot of Asian people, but I just know it's a common stereotype for like Asian parents to want their kids to go to college and become lawyers and doctors and engineers and and I've actually been watching the show on Netflix. It's a comedy, so I'm not saying it's like a documentary of the Asian life, but it's called Kim's Convenience. What's up?
For the piano?
Hit a drum?
No, I hit the microphone stand.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Kim's Convenience, and it's about a Korean family in Toronto that runs a store. They have a daughter, and she's a photography student, and they're like, why are you doing this? You know, why you want to be a photographer when you can go and be a doctor, or So it kind of plays on that stereotype. But and then I just feel like that's common amongst, like I say, a lot Black people and people of color. That's a common thing where it's like your parents want you to just go out there and do better than them. Get the degree, get the job. But it's like, I mean, everybody just don't want to do that though. So I think
I know, man.
That sounds like an important story to tell.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad story. The issues I have with this
now bring them all.
Are the things that I'm sure people have heard. So I'm probably not saying, I'm most likely
I haven't
not saying
heard any reviews of it.
Why can't Black folks stay people for a whole movie? I don't get why Black folks are not allowed to stay people for a whole movie. And they were so close to at least not making him a fucking animal. Yet they still did it.
A Garfield looking cat, yeah.
And
sorry, Adam. Sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna watch it.
I said a long time ago, Adam doesn't care about spoilers for this movie, which I probably should have asked, but I could just
man, and I don't want to sound like a what's the word? Like when you purposely do things against the grain. What's
contrarian?
Contrarian, yeah.
And for me, I'm not that, but like for me, when I see a flood of things on Facebook, I stay away from it. It's like I'm good because y'all making this.
I usually give it some time.
Yeah.
But with this,
I usually never watch stuff
again, kids.
So I get you. Yeah, the kids.
Yeah, that helped too. But okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you good. So those are two big things. Is like, can Black folks just be people for the whole time? You do not have to anthropomorphize Black folks all the time.
Oh, that's where the word comes in.
Yes.
I like how you did that.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Low continuity. Yeah. Seamless editing up.
But and not to get all photopian and whatnot, but all the promos made it kind of seem like the movie was about him. And the movie is halfway about him and kind of way too much about Tina Fey's character 22.
Yeah, I didn't expect that it was like a second. I mean, it's a secondary story, but it kind of was like half and half. Like I didn't know.
Right.
It was like it was about that.
I didn't realize a white woman was a part of the story.
But also,
that's what I'm saying.
But also, it was not really. It was like they even touched on it in the movie, like about the voices.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they used her because she's famous, but they said like I'll just use his voice because it's most annoying. They kind of hit on that. Probably just to address people who thought like you know what you.
And like, wait a minute, hold on. Did you bamboozle us into thinking this was about a black man, and you still found a way to make a white woman the center of attention? Because the thing on top of that was, sure, he was a person for barely longer than Chris Brown was alive and stomped the yard. but you still found a way to not only make him an animal and some other thing besides a person, but then you take Tina Fey's character and put her in the black man's body to learn the lessons that apparently he wasn't smart enough to learn for his life. So you're saying that from the perspective of this entity that is voiced by a white woman, but we're supposed to not believe is a white woman, can figure out life better than a black man in his own experience.
but also he's the one who showed her, you know.
Yeah,
at the end, they pretty much said like, you taught us something here.
You showed me how to want to live a life. But I'm also like, come on, man. This is
from now on. I'm going into movies with my side, and I'm definitely going in with a little bit of Josh's. I'm coming with some shit next episode, son. I'm coming with some shit. I promise.
Because I want to just enjoy the movie, but I'm also like, this is you can't. Only because of the history of what these images have been, I can't help but look at it like this.
Got you.
In the sense of if you think of all Disney Pixar, you think of all black characters, black possible. People just can't be people. Hell, Tarzan, shout out to Phil Collins, amazing soundtrack. Tarzan is in Africa. Not a nigga in sight.
That's true. That's true, man.
And so I'm like,
that one I'll give you for sure. that one for sure.
No,
Zero excuses for that.
A lot of that stuff, especially old animation.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of under racist undertones.
Even like how like Mickey Mouse originally was, shit like that.
Sure. Mm-hmm. But
I think don't quote me.
No, I mean, it's plenty of shit like that. The magpie ass birds from Dumbo. I seen a putter fly. All of that shit. Clearly just making fun of Negroes. But I just want that more than anything, and that's how they promoted it. Even though they did say, he's going to be a ghost, we're not going to make it seem like that. But they did not indicate that he was going to be an animal. So that was a bit of a cheap shot to me.
It was a lot of spiritual stuff in this movie that I would have to watch it again, like because I mean, this stuff is not everybody don't feel the same way about the spiritual world and afterlife. And they took it upon themselves to make a whole world of that. So I'll kind of have to watch it like really intently to kind of see what they
catch all.
And maybe it was no even direction for that. It was more so about what they was trying to convey.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting to see, especially in a mainstream. This is a huge movie, so it's kind of I would like to go into how they was thinking. Like it was like spirit guides and.
Mm-hmm. Well, I heard a lot of those concepts and imagery came from Burning Man.
Like in California,
the
Burning Man festival,
like the festival of Burning Man.
Yeah.
So like the boat in the desert, the idol or whatever, the meditation to be able to go between the isolated place and the spirit world. Like I heard a lot of that has to do, like a lot of that
I did
from Burning Man.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Know that. Oh, one of the gripes that I forgot to bring up, the straight edge dude who figured out that Jamie Foxx was missing. He traumatized that black man from the barbershop, and then they just left him like that.
He did like try to, what did he say?
Because he thought he was catching Jamie Foxx, and then he caught him, and then just left him all fucked up, and then they never addressed it again.
Okay, so you're talking about the dude who seemed like he was a hater. It seemed like he was hating on Jamie Foxx for a second.
Yeah,
because he was roasting him in the beginning.
He was roasting him, yeah.
And I think that was just like, oh, that's his get back. You know, they didn't.
That's
come
what I
back
thought.
to him at all.
I like that. There you go. It was just funny having Donnell Rollins as his like barber.
His bar.
Hearing
I don't know why
is so funny.
It did not add up to me. I was
that
like,
dude's voice is so funny, man.
You're too big for this high ass voice like Donnell Rollins.
That dude was bulky. He was, man.
I wasn't. What's crazy is I didn't go in this movie I didn't think any about the voices at all. And it took me, even though I had already heard about that being Jamie Foxx before, I kind of forgot about it going in.
Okay.
It took me like half of the movie to be like, oh, you know, I can hear him now. And I didn't really hear any of the characters at all.
Really? Word, okay.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I don't know.
Yeah,
he was just so engrossed.
The student that got the gig was Questlove. I think the mom, Angela Bassett. I forgot who played the woman that the gig.
The jazz player. I forgot her name.
It's right there. It's not coming to me. But yeah, like it was.
And usually I try to do that. Like, oh, that's a familiar voice. That's,
try to match it. She was wrapped up in the story.
You know how you do. That's
yeah. Yeah.
Word. Y'all seen anything else?